Hey everyone, Rev Shadow 508 here. Today I am bringing you my Maliwan Moze build, otherwise known as Elemental Explosions or General Moze. A few different names I use for it. So this is sort of like my final set. Like I've re-rolled anointments and everything I've just sort of settled on for my general gameplay as Moze. So I'm going to start going through the skill trees. And I'll talk about the anointments, talk about the gear that I've chosen, and yeah, exactly how I just go through anything, and then we'll show you a little bit of a run through Carnivora. So first off, where I generally start, especially when I'm first off going through a playthrough, I start with the blue tree. I really like the Demolition Woman tree because it gives you a nice little mix of Iron Bear skills as well as raw damage from Moze, which I really like the combination between those two things, which is sort of the point of this build, is it allows you to play either in Iron Bear or out of Iron Bear. Really depends on what you're feeling that day or what you're feeling that moment. So we're playing on Mayhem mode, so obviously Fire in the Skag Den. This is absolutely huge. As you see, I've got it 9 of 5 here because of my class mod. I am using the Minesweeper class mod for a couple of different reasons. One of the main ones being that Fire in the Skag Den, because that damage is huge. And you will see, based on the guns that I choose, they just get so much use out of Fire in the Skag Den, plus it's Mayhem scaling. I've got a few other skills that obviously benefit Iron Bear's damage, its fuel usage, all those kinds of things. I've got Auto Bear here, which, whenever I get out of Iron Bear, it makes Iron Bear sit around for a while. I'm using the Rail Cannons as my action skill with this one right here, which is the Splinter damage. So basically, whenever it hits something, it chains the damage back and forth. It can even do some funky stuff with it chaining back off of Iron Bear to the enemy, which, you can get some pretty stupid damage. The nice thing about Auto Bear combined with it is Iron Bear will aim for crits, and he will get them pretty precisely with those railguns. Pull the Holy Pin for some more grenade damage when I crit with my grenades. Vampire is a fairly central to the whole build because this combos with the Minesweeper class mod. The mines, or the grenades that spawn from Minesweeper actually benefit from Vampire. So this is especially on bosses with their big critical spots, can be not only big damage, but it can also be really big healing too. Really good for your sustain on top of some of the other health regeneration we have. We have To the Last here as well. This allows us to throw grenades while we're in Fight for Your Life. Not that I generally have too much problem with Fight for My Life with the defensive setup that I have on this Moze, but it is nice to have because this build pretty much has infinite grenades as long as you're not, as long as you're consistently doing splash damage. Means of Destruction plus Guardian ranks will get you back grenades at a pretty decent rate. For grenades, we're using the gas call, a cloning gas call, because we don't have a roided one. You could use a roided one as well, because cloning gas call does have cloning as well as Vindicator has a chance that your grenade's going to bounce back at you, and that's just going to one-shot you. So it really depends on how confident you are. Other really good grenades are Epicenter. The Fish Slap obviously can do some really, really stupid things on Moze, especially with Iron Bear's railguns when he's out in Auto Bear. That damage will transition, I believe, into Groundbreaker. So, if you really want to optimize your Moze, Fish Slap can be just an absolutely spectacular grenade with this build. And that's pretty much Demolition Woman. Another option, if you're feeling it, you can use Vanquisher Rocket Pods. These things do insane damage when paired with Fire in the Skag Den. So if that's something that strikes your fancy, that's another option that this build presents you with. Next, we'll just quick look at Shields of Retribution, because this is pretty simple as to why we take everything here. Obviously, we've got Security Bear. The bubble is actually pretty good when it is holding up. It can, take some decent projectile damage off you. It's also nice when you're just getting in and out of Iron Bear to activate the anointments that we use, because it gives us not only that a little bit of immunity as we're getting in and out of Iron Bear, we then also have a little bubble we can sit under to just not really take damage, even when enemies are firing rockets and stuff at us. Armored infantry, this is just some more gun damage. This helps us progress further down the tree. Drowning in brass, this is a lot more gun damage. This is very, very good while mobbing. Then we have full can whoop ass and experimental munitions. This is just really good for when you're playing with friends. It gives them a little bit of shield recharging as you're getting in and out of Iron Bear and stuff, as you're just doing your general gameplay. So it's just a nice little support to have. Also, it's just some extra little survivability you don't necessarily need, but for 1 point, you can do a lot worse. Experimental munitions, this is another extremely important one to the build, because it's just more incendiary damage, which is a big portion of this build, with both your ammo retention and just your damage overall, because you already have fire in the Skag Den, and obviously we're going to be taking another skill to buff fire in the Skag Den, which we're about to jump to, which is this one right here. Stoke the Embers. This increases all your incendiary damage. This is just really, really good for this build overall for the reasons I'm about to cover. Cloud of Lead, which makes every 4th shot, yes, do bonus incendiary damage, and it doesn't consume ammo, which is just great for ammo retention. It's really, really good. And then it's going to obviously do bonus fire damage because you have Stoke the Embers. Then also Stoke the Embers buffs fire in the Skag Den, and it buffs experimental munition. On top of that, it buffs the anointment that we're using on all our guns, which is after exiting Iron Bear, our next 2 magazines will have 125 bonus incendiary damage. This is huge, because you'll be able to keep this up pretty much all the time. You'll never have a problem not having this up, especially if you choose to use the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge and you have mag size on it. That is the key to, if you're choosing to use this relic on the build I have here, it is very important that you have that mag size increase, because otherwise the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge is just not as worthwhile. It's still good, it's just not as good without that mag size increase, because that mag size increase is just going to make it so even with guns with lower mag size, like the Sandhawk here, you're just not going to have to really reload them ever. You're just going to be able to fire them a lot without having to reload, and it's overall just going to increase your DPS, especially your effectiveness on bosses. But yeah, going back to the skill tree quick, we have 2 of 1 in redistribution, so this is more ammo regeneration whenever we land a crit, and obviously we're encouraged to land crits because of Minesweeper, because of everything we have, means of destruction, to land, to spawn more grenades, to heal ourselves, to also get grenade ammunition back, to trigger Vampire, you know, all those things. Just creates a nice little loop. We have Dakabear, because Dakabear is actually not that bad anymore, but mainly it's also for that Iron Bear damage increase to make our railguns do really stupid amounts of damage. We have Scrappy. This is just a bunch of really good stats while you're moving. And you're going to be moving a lot in this game, because that's combat doesn't really allow you to just sit there and stand still, so why not, especially to progress further down the tree. We have Scorching RPMs, because more rate of fire, more critical hit damage, more Iron Bear damage. All really, really good stuff for this build. Magazine size, obviously for the reasons I listed earlier, is exceptionally powerful. Specialist Bear, because this is drastically going to increase Iron Bear's damage when using your matching weapons, which, you know, if you're using this skill, you should always be using matching guns. Some for the road. This is really, really good for the rocket launcher. I'll show you right now. With the anointment after exiting Iron Bear, gain 160 increased splash damage. I have an ion cannon here, but you could also use a back burner. You could use a plague bear. It is really up to you. You could use a Ryan if you want. Ryan would be also pretty good. But generally, it's pretty good to use this anointment plus some for the road, because after you exit Iron Bear, you can have your rocket launcher out and then just fire away a bit if you want. It's just kind of fun to do. You don't really need to, because in terms of DPS, the rocket launchers that charge don't really put out the kind of DPS numbers, but it's always so satisfying just to blow an enemy's head off in one shot. Let's be real. And lastly, Forge. Forge in the blue tree is just more ammo regeneration for the same reasons we were talking about mag size. The reason mag size is actually so good for ammo regeneration, I'll explain here is because skills like this are based on your magazine size. As you can see, it says 5% of magazine size per second. Same with redistribution. So the bigger the mag size, the more ammo that gun is going to regenerate per second, making it easier for you to just never have to reload that weapon, thus keeping your anointments up more. Lastly, in the purple tree, we just have some more raw Iron Bear damage because, you know, having those options to either play an Iron Bear or play outside are a ton of fun. Another set of guns that I'll occasionally use the miniguns, generally with one of them being let off some steam and general winter. Like I'll have one in each, or sometimes I'll do let off steam in both. You could also play with the flamethrowers if you want to, you like the flamethrowers. You could have some fun while mobbing. I don't believe they're particularly effective on most bosses, though, so be wary of that. I have played with Molten Roar, which can do crazy things while mobbing, especially when you're facing off against bandits and Maliwans, and it's pretty fun for a while, but it's also very dangerous because these explosions can potentially hurt Iron Bear if the enemy is too close. And they can just one-shot you right out of Iron Bear, and then you're left with a full cooldown. So now that we've pretty much gone through all the skills and the reasons for taking them and what we're doing here, we'll go over the rest of the gear. I've got the OPQ system as my assault rifle here. OPQ system is pretty much just one of the top 3 assault rifles in the game, up there with like the Monarch, and let's think of another example. That's another really good assault. I guess the Soul Render's a pretty good assault rifle. Probably, maybe not top 3, but it's definitely up there. And yeah, so this is just an assault rifle I absolutely love, even though it's technically not elemental, and it's not... it is going to gain the benefit, though, of having it's not splash damage as well on its standard projectiles. It creates a shock explosion, which is really, really nice. And that shock explosion, as I recall, benefits from firing the Skag Den. Yeah, it's just a really good gun in general for its ammo consumption. Even though its mag size is relatively small, you generally won't have much trouble just continuously firing this thing into an enemy. And next off we have Sandhawk. Sandhawk is just great. It's probably the best sniper rifle in the entire game. It works on mobbing, it works on bosses. It does a heck of a lot of splash damage, and that is vastly amplified by firing the Skag Den. Then we also have our magazine, we have our anointment, which is further increasing its damage output. It is fairly hungry on ammo, which is why if you want to use the Sandhawk a lot, that's why the Pearl Ineffable Knowledge can be good with the mag size increase, because otherwise you'll be reloading this thing. You'll use ammo so quickly, you will be reloading this thing, and you will eventually run out of ammo, unless of course you're playing semi-conservatively. Core weapon to the entire build, the Flipper. The Flipper is freaking fantastic. It is just sustained RPPM fire, no breaks like the plasma coil, multiple projectiles. All those projectiles do splash damage, meaning they're amplified by firing the Skag Den. You can get 2 elements on it, and you can just keep firing it and throw grenades while you're firing it, as you'll see me do here. And you can shred stuff pretty frickin' quickly with the Flipper, and it's the reason why it's probably my favorite SMG in this game. Next off, the Free Radical as a pistol. Free Radical's, by a large margin, probably one of the best weapons in the game. Definitely the best pistol in the game. You get 2 projectiles for the price of 1. The first one doing splash damage. The gun's locked to shock, but that doesn't mean a thing with how much damage it does. And the fact that you can keep firing this thing as Moze and just go to town. This thing is crazy mobbing, especially with firing the Skag Den, as I've said before. So that's the pistol that I've picked for this build for obvious reasons. For our shield, we've got a Transformer. Makes us immune to shock damage, which is really, really nice. Just, makes us a little bit beefier. Also gives us a chance to absorb ammo. So if enemies hit us, we can absorb that ammo. And, on the occasion when we do use some ammo, it'll get added back to our stock. Handy for rocket launchers, handy for sniper rifles. We have the anointment for whenever you've exited Iron Bear. When you get kills, you get cooldown rate, which is nice on those occasions where you spend some time in Iron Bear and you actually need to push its cooldown down a bit. We went over Minesweeper, so don't really need to say much about it here. Cloning Gas Call, we went over that already. This can't be anointed, so which is why you might choose to change to a different grenade other than this one, just for an anointment. Another choice is Its Piss can be pretty good for bosses, because you can debuff them and they'll take more damage from you, which can be pretty nice. You can also make it so when Iron Bear is damaged, you have a chance to dump one of those grenades out and debuff enemies. Can be good for bosses. But I still really like the Cloning Gas Call for bosses just because you'll see, I spam throw them. We have a Last Stand Auto Idle. This can be kind of hard to come by, especially a specific relic combination out there. Like hunting for a specific combination can be difficult. I really like the Last Stand Auto Idle because it just makes you that much thicker. The temporary invulnerability realistically is the best part of it. The health restoration is just icing on the cake. But really that temporary invulnerability is absolutely phenomenal. So whenever you get low health, you just, have a little bit of a grace period. On top of Moze being able to become immune to damage on entering Iron Bear, this makes you nearly unkillable. The combination of Transformer, Last Stand, plus Iron Bear. As backup weapons, we have a Trevinator. I really like using the Trevinator. The Trevinator is just one of my favorite shotguns, especially as a splash damage shotgun. This one's doesn't have the ideal anointment because I haven't taken the time to re-roll it yet. I also haven't found this isn't a maximum damage variant, which is also why I haven't taken the time to re-roll it. I want to get a better one before I re-roll it. But great shotgun. Love who it was made for. Love everything about it, which is why this is a mainstay shotgun for me, especially for a Maliwan Moze. The ion cannon, we sort of went over that already. That's my rocket launcher for her. And then we have a Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge, and then obviously I have a Schluter sitting in my inventory just for when I choose to go and do some farming. Anyway, we've spent enough time there. Let's get to it, Bear. So we're just going to sort of do a run through of Carnivora, kill the Agonizer at the end, and this is on Mayhem 10. So you guys will sort of see what my build can do here. Normally I do Athenas for things like this, but I figured it would be a good idea to sort of shake things up and do something different. And since my Moze is really good at dealing with dislocation, I felt like this is the ideal one for her. So as you can see here, I'm just sort of holding down the trigger with one button, throwing grenades with the other finger. Even when I go down, come right back up. See, I don't even have my anointment there, and that's doing disgusting things to them. See, that was chaining back and forth to me. Oh, missed there. Yeah. Oh yeah, and that was another jump there with the chain lightning. So as you can see, it can do some pretty dumb damage because the chain's damage is based on how much the lasers damage you. So if you crit with the laser, it does things like that. As we're about halfway down on our fuel and iron barrier, so we'll jump out here and let... Ooh, we had a death skull snuck up on us. We'll use this, one of the reasons I actually kind of like the cryo orbs as a mayhem modifier is I can use them for second wind, which you will often see me do. They like to chase you down in melee range. They don't do a lot. Yeah, hey, here we go. We got a couple freeze tags there. Thanks for the easy second win. Swap over to the Q system. Show the Q system off a little bit, or OPQ system. We'll just get in and out of Iron Bear here. Another thing we'll show off actually once Iron Bear comes off cooldown that you can do with some for the road. So we're going to switch to the OPQ system's function where it can spawn secondaries. You can actually fire several of these things out. Then you can have a little storm of drones. It's not super powerful in terms of DPS output. Like you're honestly better off. Ooh, that's an okay Trevenator. We'll just pick that up. That actually has a deep mag, which can be good for me. But yeah, it's not like obviously firing the OPQ system is way stronger than spending the time to shoot at the drones. The drones don't really last all that long, and their damage isn't anything to write your parents home about. But that's, you know, it's a fun little thing to do. So, you know, it gives you options, and it will kill stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it's weak. It's just you have more powerful options. Oh, you keep jumping down behind me. And with the OPQ system, one of the things you want to keep in mind is to keep some distance from enemies, because that shock nova explosion, also in general, keeping back from enemies because of your micro grenade drops. Your micro grenade drops can very easily kill you. Ooh, yeah, see, that was, you know, firing the skag gun, killing me there. Swap over to Sandhawk. Switch to semi-auto. Let's get a good chain in. Double kill? Yeah, double kill. Ooh, I back up to these death skulls. Iron Bearer is going to about to end this man's life. Oh, apparently this man's life is already ended. It's actually just a death skull. Alright, now we're going to use this, show the Sandhawk off a bit. I think we already went in and out, but we'll go in and out again. Just safe.
Blessed are the meek, for they are not full of bullets!
Iron Bear missed it. Oh, yeah, I one-shot that guy. One-shot both of those things. See, that did, you know, what's it called? Firing the Skag Den plus all the other incendiary damage I did, that did 2 million there. That did way more than the actual bullets did.
Hey! Ah! Perishable mind inside! Get eyes of this! That'll rip you apart!
10 million there. Yeah, I also have a shock variant one of these. It doesn't have the ideal damage. It actually has a deeper mag, which has been the main one I've used for quite a while. And I use that one because it's good against the little shock things. Yeah, the cryo traps, or the freeze tanks. That's it.
Dynamite. Racking him up.
Yeah, one thing you have to be cautious of when you're playing this is Iron Bear killing something that you didn't see, and Death Skulls. That's if you have Death Skulls with your modifiers. Obviously, you might play with different modifiers than me. Let's see what our legendary is up here. What do we got? Oh, it's another Minesweeper. And this is another thing I should show you. Minesweeper can come with Torg cross promotion. That can be excessively dangerous for Minesweepers because it's going to potentially double the size of a micro grenade. It makes it so your effective range is reduced because you want to stay back further. You don't want to get in as close. Because if you do, you really run the risk of one-shotting yourself. Jericho there. So we're probably not interested in that at all. As you can see, sometimes I'll spam shots, other times I'm sort of conservative because I'm giving my sniper rifle a bit of a breath. Oh, let's see what that legendary is real quick. It's a boring gun. Okay, that's honestly kind of worse than a Jericho. It's not a gun.
Now! You're gonna kill you!
Almost killed. That was almost insta double kill. Ooh. Okay. And so to annihilate the Agonizer, I am literally just going to use the flipper plus gas calls, and this thing is going to freaking melt.
Witness the Agonizer 9000!
And go.
Who's hungry for some barbecue? I see those teeth! Time for a quick commercial break. Our ammunition's going
I was hitting the crit spots nicely, so we're going to get a commercial break. Usually I'm able to kill him before it, but get him a bit out of practice.
Hey, pal! I'll take your money, but that's just unprofessional.
Meanwhile, we can show you guys the Terminator Easter egg. Maybe kill some of the audience. Not like we're gonna run out of ammo, right?
Okay, bridge over. We're all in. Terror, hit everybody.
Yes, hit everybody. And dead. Grab our iridium. What do we got here? I think that's a dictator. Yeah, there's dictator. It's just a dictator. Oh, that's all we got. Okay. Alrighty. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my Maliwan Moze, or Elemental Explosion Moze, as I'm probably going to call it. Ooh, that actually has a good anointment on it. Oh my goodness. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope any of this that you see here is helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.